That's great. That's great.
You know what? We should start off today by asking Arthur, teach me to write linear jazz-infused drum beats, because I'm sitting here slamming my head against the wall trying to learn this, and I've never done this before. So you got any tips for me?
Not at all. Just keep practicing your rudiments. Do those paradiddles. Seriously, really, jazz is such a technical genre. If you know how to command your limbs, all four of them, then you can do anything. If you're trying to do it on a keyboard, that's then you have 10 limbs to work with. Pretty crazy with that.
That is what I have to work with, unfortunately.
Well, hey, you can do a lot more with 10 fingers than you can with 4 limbs.
You know what's funny about that? I mean, for someone who spends a lot of time programming, I bet you it is easy. But I suffer so much that I almost wish I had an electronic kit here just to play, to flesh out the ideas, and then go to the computer and then kind of work with it more than drawing for forever, or, you know what I mean, like trying to get that perfect little accent or something on the keyboard that just doesn't kind of come through, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Although it's tough because electronic drum kits have their own plethora of issues with like latency and also accuracy. Also, like what kit you have. We experienced that with the album we're recording now. Just like using samples and it can be very limiting and very frustrating.
I now notice in the background, what kind of kit is that? Is that what you're using on the new album?
Yeah, Arthur, you would know more than.
Yeah, that's the TD4. Really.
Roland, right?
I would say, yeah. I would say it's like lower mid, but it's very old, outdated, and it's actually my wife's. It's Cindy's electric kit, and it was like $3,000 when she bought it. So,
but that at least gives you those mesh pads, kind of to what Kevin was talking about. That gives you a little bit more, you know, like.
I think this one doesn't have mesh pads.
It does, but it doesn't matter because we're using Superior Drummer as our samples.
I honestly thought about buying a kit today after sitting here and trying to work on a new song. I'm just like, this is driving me insane because I'm not a drummer. You know what I mean?
Electronic one? An electronic kit?
Just something, yeah, something like that, but not anything crazy. I'd probably just waste the $200 and get like an Alesis Pro Strike or you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that one's probably more expensive, so maybe like one of the older DM models or something, just to have it as another reference to work out ideas for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, I've got some pads here that help, but I mean, you guys know, even an electronic kit, even if you had a TD20, you know what I mean? You shoved out the $9,000 or whatever it is, it's still not,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not really the same. And I'm sitting here slamming my head against the wall where I'm like, even if I had a proficient drummer come over here and try to tab this out, they get close, you know what I mean? I can get it like super, super close, but some of these things like, specifically hi-hat work, you know what I mean? Like intricate, like little movements, stuff like that. It just makes you want to pull your hair out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially I think cymbals and stuff. What a long way we had to go. Yeah, with getting some kind of accurate sounding samples.
Yeah, still working on the drums. It's even though the drums technically are done, they're not done, and they won't be done until like it's ready to be shipped out for mastering, because that's how limited you are with your velocities and to try to make it sound natural. And it really comes down to what you want it to sound like. So right now we're figuring out that middle ground, like what sounds good, what sounds real, what sounds bad, everything in between.
Yeah, like it's a really good tool. It's a really good tool when you're an independent musician that or even like a professional musician, and you have like a limited budget, or you don't want to spend as long in a full-fledged studio spending, you know, hundreds, thousands of dollars a day on recording. Instead, you know, you can just invest a little bit or a lot, you know, there are expensive kits, but you can invest some money and get a digital kit, and you can track these drums all on your own. And I think every year that we go on using this stuff, it'll get better. Because when you think about how long digital kits and, like, you know, MIDI in the form it is today has been around compared to just sticking up a microphone on an amp or on drums and recording, it's like, it's quite a difference. So it's exciting to think about 5 or 10 years from now, the advances, but we're just in this weird, like, shadow world where nothing is quite real. It doesn't sound real, and there's still a lot of things to overcome. But it's cool. It sounds convincing now, you know?
Yeah. And like you were saying, I mean, we could be in a studio and we can end up with a $15,000 or $25,000 bill. So it's like, what else can we do? We don't have a room that's treated properly to address a real drum kit being played at full volume to get the right response from the kit. Like the kit would just sound like it's in a garage. So is this better than sounding like you're in a garage with, you know, some microphones that are not, you know, high enough quality? It does sound better than that. But.
And truth be told, I mean, this has been a standard for many bands. And, you know, with all due respect, not many people...
successful.
Yeah, not many people are going to turn a weird eye to it. They almost, I would say, confidently can know the difference. And that speaks to the time that's put in, which, if I remember correctly, that drove Arthur to the point of insanity working on Velocity on the previous album, trying to get that to sound as good as it can. So knowing that the drums are almost in a placeholder setting, but they need to get driven like even more to bring that real essence out of it, I empathize with the headache you're about to endure. And ultimately the best advice, and I mean, you're already saying it, which Kevin said, which is like, the more you do it, the easier that it works out. Like, I do little stuff here just for fun all the time, but you guys know the music that I put out there. It's just like acoustic, you know, music. But working in a studio for so long, having to do sample replacements, things like that, now coming back and actually sitting in a project, it's like, I can see the times getting shorter every single time. It's still a pain in the ass, and you know what I mean? But like, it's, you get into a groove, which is nice, and like you said, the advancements are really good. I mean, MIDI packs are so good now that, you know what I mean, you can set up literally entire songs as placeholders just to flesh out some ideas while every other person's working out the pie. It's insane. But I think at the end of the day, you know what I mean, there's still a reason why drummers are the most sought after musicians for a band. So Arthur, I don't think you're going to get replaced anytime soon, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. I mean, when I look at the just the editing for drums, it's definitely the most intensive. I mean, unless you're doing like composition, you know, and a bunch of articulations with strings, and you know, I'm sure there's other stuff you can go wild with, and like audio. We just figured out recently that there's this thing that exists that's called audio quantization. Like, we didn't know audio quantizing was a thing. So we were literally chopping up takes and moving them by hand and like doing, you know, manual crossfades.
Or doing 200 takes.
Yeah, that's
literally trying to do perfect, like, precision to the millisecond timing to an overdub over and over to play like a machine, like a computer, and realizing, wait, there's got to be something else people do. They don't do 200 takes. There's no time to do this. You know?
Yeah. And then I just happened to stumble across a video by a musician, Ben Jordan, who's also known as the Flashbulb and other projects and stuff. But yeah, he was doing a review of Ableton, and I just happened to be watching it, and I saw that he did audio quantizing. And I was like, oh shit, man.
Yeah, that's what people do.
We're just finding this out now in 2021. And how long have we been using our DAW and just like manually doing it? I don't know. Basically, the more time you put into it, yeah, exactly. Reiterating what you said, like you discover things to make the process go faster. But boy, nothing in a way beats just putting up a damn microphone and recording. Although that's really scary to do, because then it's like you have to nail that take perfect, and you don't have perfect, and you don't have these tools. Well, you think you don't have these tools to like make things line up perfectly with the BPM and stuff. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is recording sucks.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it. It's the worst.
But you bring up a couple of really interesting points, though. First being that, you know, I don't think that that's time wasted, though. And it foreshadows what the audio engineer and producers do and what they bring to the table that I think, even though we could say, like, you know, the secular world has the ability to now, you know, have their home studio and this, that, or the other, but it doesn't mean, you know, you can have all the fine tools in the world. If you don't know how to use it, you know, it does raise some questions. But I know you guys, and I do know that you would put in the 200 takes. I do know other bands that wouldn't do that, which does speak to the ability of you guys, I know, could go out and do a live album and put out, you know, a decent microphone in the garage or wherever and get a decent sound coming out of it because you guys are proficient at your instruments. So even though, you know, there's a learning curve, and I actually got a couple people I could probably put you into contact that are in your area that do this all the time that would love to give you, you know, tips, but I mean, there is a lot that comes out of that, the trial and error. And at least if you guys can laugh at it, you know what I mean, and keep going at it, just be open to more of those tools, because they're, I mean, the digital age is nice in a lot of ways. And I mean, you said it best by literally just holding your head, because it's almost this euphoric moment when you see it. And hey, even if you don't have to do it, that's fine. But you're the master of the crossfades now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's worth something, because, you know, if you guys work with vocals, if you work with, I mean, the list goes on of instruments, those, that's significant work. If you work, say if you got a home studio or you got somebody come in and you really got to work on editing you got to turn shit to gold. Like, you're going to need to be able to get in there nitty gritty, and those years of 200 takes are worth their weight in gold. So it's, you know what I mean? Maybe that's me being an optimist and seeing the silver lining in things, but I think that there's a lot of good there, that some bands would be like, I'm never doing this again. Recording sucks. I'm not putting the time in. I hate this. When other people are like, you know what? I think I can still roll with this and actually learn something here, you know?
No, past all the frustrations and all the moments of feeling that, I still, you know, after those moments are over with, I don't feel like I could ever stop. I never felt that feeling. I mean, yeah, I say things like I want to throw my guitar out the window. I say things like that, but it's like in the end, I'm still going to get up and I'm just going to keep doing it. I mean, there's the ultimate conclusion of having the completed work and believing in the music you're making and just really enjoying the effort you put in, showing this like work of art you've spent a lot of time on. I don't know. I guess that just keeps you going. But yeah, there's so many frustrating moments, and I've made so many comments. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. But in the end, you keep going. And yes, it does get smoother. We just happened, like Kevin was saying, this happened like 2 weeks ago. Like, some songs were taking me maybe multiple days to track, and I just did a full song in one day. It just happened, like overdubs and everything, because of these things we learned. And you get kind of you get the momentum. You get the momentum, like you were saying. We felt this with the last album too. It's just that the problem is that we spend 4, 5, 6 years in between that. So we're now like constantly rehearsing our ability to record. We're rehearsing our ability to play our instruments. But then in a recording environment, hearing yourself back, latency, hearing everything is a little off and a little bit different. Then you hear everything's so sensitive, like every little mistake shows up in your headphones. Yeah, we're not doing that every single week. We're very much a live band. Like, we rehearse and we practice, but when we are playing at venue volumes, sometimes we're doing band practice, It's not the same environment as scrutinizing everybody's part soloed, you know.
One of the things that is tough about self-recording is the longer you do it, you get better at it, but then also your ears get more, you can tune into BPM changes of 2 or 3 BPM. If there's if the drums, if you're not recording to a click track, and something goes off even just a little bit, no casual listener will be able to hear it, which is not an insult at all to them. It just, the longer you do it, the more you get tuned into it, and that can almost be at your detriment if someone's not recording you, that you're on the clock and like, you know, paying, because then there's these small details that you just can't let go of, or like guitar noises that you as you're sliding up the neck, you're just like, ah, man, I can't stand that. But other people are like, well, that's just what a guitar sounds like. Like, yeah, that's just someone playing the guitar. But to you, it's like the most offensive thing in the world. So it's I don't know. It's very
we definitely tough. Doing it ourselves. We have so much time on our hands. We hyper focus, and we end up getting rid of parts that are probably acceptable by almost everyone's standard. We end up deleting them and redoing them. But again, I guess we have to be happy. And if in that moment I'm not happy with that take, I just gotta do it again. There's really no option.
Yeah, but some of these things definitely aren't subjective. And once you get under the microscope, you start to really see that. And you start to notice how you take for granted things like distortion and other fun tricks that, you know, even the most proficient live band, when under that microscope, they'll be like, oh shit. And sure, maybe some listeners might not hear it, but when everything is recorded as it should and every part is where it is, a song breathes. And I think people can notice when there's a hiccup or a glitch. Now, you're right, though. The more that you stay in that zone, your ear becomes attuned to it like anything else. And some things, are natural, but other things aren't. For example, as a shameless plug, I work with this company called Jimmy Clip. And they make, you guys know, I mean, how many players put foam behind their nut because of those overtones that'll get picked up that are... Like, sure, maybe the normal person won't be able to kind of pick up, but they'll pick it up if you show them the before and after. And there's in every song, in every guitar, there's this tiny little ring or something. And
resonance, yeah.
You know what's funny is that's like an Eric Johnson problem, where people thought he was crazy, and he's like, no, I'm hearing these things. And, you know, some of that stuff, you have to just go in it and constantly slam your head against the wall, and you're going to start hearing those little nuances. But it's a testament to the music that you guys put out and how much detail you put in there, because I think a lot of people, you know, skim over some of those things and they're okay with it. And I think your guys' attention to detail is good, but also your willingness to be like, hey, we got to keep moving. You know what I mean? That's also, you know what I mean? Perfection is, you know what I mean? Like the most unobtainable thing. So at least if you're realistic with yourself, you can at least work, you know what I mean? And then start working on all the other problems that comes with this.
Yeah. You bring up a great point, Justin. You know, I've been working with you translating some Japanese stuff here. You and I are both fans of Japanese language and culture, and the Japanese have a word for that. It's called kaizen. And kaizen is the idea that there is a certain ceiling of perfection, of more important than perfection is efficiency. And how much you put in compared to what you're getting out, is it worth it? And so the idea of kaizen is why when you look at Japanese culture, they appropriate all the cultures of the world, from Chinese culture to American to African to Italian, and they do things kaizen. You know, I've walked into Japanese pastries that do pastries better than France. You know, I've walked into obviously they've created our entire childhoods, video games and soundtracks. You know, the music that Nobuo Uematsu has written is timeless, and just all the music he's written for Final Fantasy is pretty much the reason, I know for Dorian and I, a big reason why we are in music today is because of these Japanese composers. So they apply the philosophy of kaizen to everything, where you have to draw the line, right? But you have to draw the line. And what makes it difficult in a band setting is there's three different lines. There's 3 different individuals. We're triumvirate trying to, we each draw our lines where we think they are. And like back to touch upon the whole reason we're doing things the way we're doing is because I think it is the most efficient and the most money saving. None of us are rich. We can't afford that 25,000 that Dorian talked about. We can't drop that kind of money.
I mean, that's just a random number.
It's
just
a random number. It would cost, realistically, it would cost hundreds of
But
thousands of
that's
dollars.
not far off for a band that has songs as long as you guys do. You know what I'm saying? Who wants that intricate work, who's going to put that many hours in, times $80 to $120 per hour, and that's just for tracking. I mean, people don't think about, editing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mixing, every other
Oh,
stage
God.
of it as well, too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you're right, though. That point is important. And, it's funny because you guys aren't younger. You know what I mean? You've been through this a lot. And I've seen you guys kind of ebb and flow with some of these stuff. And I bet you those lines over time have had to kind of find even ground between the 3 of you. And the simple fact that you're still doing this shows that you can do that. At least find some way to work together, which I don't think a lot of people can do. I mean, that's like a marriage. That's compromise. That's, you know what I mean? It's really a testament to you guys being able to push and pull and try to work together. And sometimes that probably sucks, but, if the middle ground can still get the job done and you, like you said, put that line there, there's something worth value there, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning too. I want to mention at least that I think the best way, because there is like perfectionism and going too far, and there's like being lazy and like maybe doing not enough and whatever, but it's also subjective. So it's like, I think whether you just literally record in a garage and put a microphone up and you're like, your song is 30 seconds long and it's like just fucking noise, or if it's like a 20-minute epic prog, like through composed progression, that's like been hyper scrutinized. It's like, the cool thing about music is I think you can tell when something is authentic and when something is not. When someone's trying to just make it sound a certain way compared to like they have a vision, they have something that is satisfactory, a satisfactory level for them. So like, I think that's like, it's the most important thing you can do when you're trying to release an album, I think, is just whether it is almost nothing at all or frankly too much. It's like whatever that truth is for you, whatever is your vision as an artist, like that's the most important thing you can try and go after, even more so than like, am I saving money? Am I saving time? Am I putting in enough work, too much work?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because it's the sound they want or the thing they're achieving.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess, so it's like the way we're doing it, I mean, the way we're talking about how we go about it is like, it's almost like irrelevant, to like another musician. It's like insightful and you can learn something and maybe take from our process, but it's so that's one of the coolest things about music and any art is it ends up being different because it's required of the art that you're doing. It needs to be different for you to be satisfied with it, unless you are trying to emulate some other band, which is I think what a lot of musicians do when they start. Like, when we started, we were lo and behold, our music sounded like Queens of the Stone Age and Mogwai and stuff like that, because that's what we listened to in Russian circles even.
Yeah, especially this is especially our first band that we were in before this.
Yeah.
This project, this I would say the final band, because the first band we were a lot younger, longer time ago.
Yeah. But I think it's cool to just kind of follow what sounds right to you. So the way we do it and the way we're talking about it, we spend 20 hours on the MIDI drums and we do 200, 300 takes. Like, some of the best directors in film, you got Stanley Kubrick, who would do hundreds of takes and bring their actors to the point of breaking down and crying. And you have other directors that do like mumblecore type genres where they just literally don't even have a script. They turn on the camera. Yeah, they improvise the lines, and like both of these, they're both awesome genres of film. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to talk about this stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people talk about, you know, not wanting to be into competition with other people. You know, don't worry about your neighbor's bowl, so to say, unless, you know, they don't have anything in there. At least those are some things that I've been taught. But I've also been taught that the person that you should be in competition with is yourself. Yeah. And if that means that, you know, you have to take a step back to learn something, or, you know what I mean, challenge yourself to do something better, like that's where it needs to be. And I think ultimately, when you said, you know, if it's authentic, I don't think people really give a shit about a lot of these other points. They are important, you know what I mean? People do care when you sing off key, okay? Let's be real here. But a lot of these other points are truly irrelevant, and if your message is in there, I think people will at least appreciate it and find it and you know, resonate with it. Though it's becoming harder and harder with so much white noise out there these days.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Also, you know, that can lead to innovation and new genres and stuff too. You know, it's so hard. I mean, it's easy to get, yeah, like when I listen to music and a lot of what's out there, I can become very jaded and very kind of critical about the music scene and how much, like you said, like white noise there is out there. But man, it's just like, just fucking write your music, you know. It's like whatever. if some terrible song is, you know, in the top 10 Billboard or whatever the fuck, it's like it just doesn't matter. Like, you know, it's all so subjective. You can really go down a rabbit hole with thinking about that shit, you know.
Well, especially when you're in a band and these people's actions affect how you operate, whether or not you like it or not. Like, they do have an influence, and that can be maddening, because as much as you want to tell yourself, like, well, you know, there is so much white noise, I don't like this, I can turn to something else. It's hard to just stay in tunnel vision, because it's got its own set of problems as well.
It's cultural.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there's even stuff with Spotify, for instance. I mean, when you think about the platform of Spotify and how royalties are dished out, it's per song, right? It's on a per song basis. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean for a noise band that releases 1 minute songs compared to a prog metal band, or, you know, just an instrumental band that releases 10, dare I say 20-minute songs? Like, they're both getting paid like one royalty per song, is my understanding. So there's incentive right there towards, at the very least, I think pop music, you know, you don't want very long songs. I think you never did anyway with pop music, right? But certainly not now. It's not a per-minute thing. So I guess monetarily, the incentive is for shorter songs and stuff. I don't know how many people actively know that and think about that when they're writing. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I guess there's all these little small factors that can contribute to the way you're writing music.
The system being set in place like that definitely makes me think about, wait a minute, I kind of want to write some 3-minute songs.
See, but that's kind of like a horrible thing, though. That's not something that's good. And you can see people playing to those algorithms, which is like, okay, if that's how you're going to make your bread and butter, I guess I understand it. I personally am not going to conform for that. If I like writing 3-minute songs because that's a form that I like in the style of music that I play and it's appropriate, it makes sense then, you know what I mean? But to constantly be conforming because that's the modern norm, it's like, if that's the case, then like, why are we doing any of this? Like, we should all be writing 20-second noisecore songs, like you said, just so we can get the most revenue, you know, possible. Or do like, you know, little gimmicky things and try to exploit the algorithm, like many other bands have done too. Yes. I mean, Wolfpack is one of the more notable ones that did that with the Playing Nothing album while people slept, and they made like a buttload of money off that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. A lot of that is important, and you can get crazy with that, but I have found a way to at least exist, and I have to focus on that, because if I start focusing on that other stuff like I have with other bands, I think I'd go crazy. And kudos for you guys to at least put it into play, but not let that be your forefront. You know, you let art be your forefront, and that's rare, and it's good, because most people by this age are like, fuck this, I'm going to go become a plumber, or, you know what I mean? Or they're like, fuck this, I'm going to start writing, like you said, pop songs. I'm going to start doing something else. I need to get, what I'm getting out of music is not what I'm getting, which is recognition, which really is kind of secondary to expression in music, but that's a whole other topic within itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tough too. Like you can even think of YouTube and YouTubers. When they change algorithms around, and or like you get monetized. I'm not too familiar with this. I'm probably wrong on some of this. So
no, but it's a prime example. You see every form of YouTubers doing that, following trends from thumbnails to what tags follow up to what
to
is
length,
interesting.
length of videos.
Length of
like,
videos.
It has to be like 10 minutes long, right, or something now. Like.
Well, for a certain amount of watch time, because they want you to be able to be monetized. So that would, like, for a while was pushing people to make longer videos so they could chew up the time and play to that, you know, algorithm, so that they can have people blindly put ads on their videos for Degree underarm deodorant.
Yeah, right. Well, and so, you know, is it art? Is it not? You know, whatever. Like, either way, they're YouTubers, and that's their living. But like, God damn, they gotta adhere to that if they're gonna make that bread on that platform. So it's like, I don't know. I try to be conscious of that when I see certain things, certain trends. I'm like, is it the artist, or is it this late stage capitalism bullshit that's leading us down like weird paths with art and stuff? It's probably always existed. You could probably go back to.
That's the point. Music and commerce and merging them has always brought these weird problems, even beforehand. And all you guys know this because I know you've all taken some level of college-based music classes. I mean, music has been used in horrific ways. You know what I'm saying? So it's not anything new. You know, we're just seeing the most recent version of it. Luckily, people aren't being killed. Or, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe even that's subjective, you know what I mean, with certain genres of music. But I think you guys know what I'm saying as far as, you know, where music has come from and where it is now.
Again, I might be wrong about this, but from what I do remember, I think Renaissance era music and stuff, it was mostly just for upper class citizens. Like, it wasn't until the Romantic era, I think, man, again, I'm not totally confident, but I think around, let's just say around the Romantic era, a little before or after, I think that's when, you know, you started being like the commoners were started being able to go to, like, you know, symphonies or whatever, is my understanding.
Well, I mean, they were always allowed to come into the church system to be able to be subjected to music in different forms. But and I can't remember exactly what period it was, but I think it's around the time when just basically the secular world had enough money to create their own instruments is when it started to really break. But they were
the advent of agriculture, or not agriculture, industrialization.
But even before then, they were able to be subjected to it, but it definitely was held in a higher regard and as a special thing and used in special ways. And that's not anything new. I mean, you can even, I mean, look at the Monkees. You know what I mean? Like, if that's not a prime example of a modern day version of people bastardizing music for a certain like reason, you know what I mean? Like I said, I don't think anyone was hurt. A lot of people like the Monkees. I think I grew up watching that TV show. I've been running around names for this podcast for a while, and I have been, I don't know, threw around a bunch of names, and I think I'm landing on the Tell Me Something Great. So I just want to ask you all guys, since I haven't talked to you in a while, just tell me something great. Tell me something new from each one of you. Like, what's going on?
As in, like, what we're you could
just tell me something great.
Tell me something that's making you happy right now. And we're all just like,
tell me something great you did today.
I'll start. Not so much today, but I continue to not so much today. I mean, you know, today kind of sucks. But I've been getting more into making pizzas over the past year or two, and I've been trying different styles, and I've started using my uni oven, which is like for making like Neapolitan style pizzas. So anyway, that's my thing. I've been getting more into that, and that's been fun to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spring cleaning, cleaning up the house. Cleaned my bathroom today. Very proud of that. It's a good time when your bathroom is clean.
I did that not too long ago. Elaine and I just got the whole house, just went through the whole thing, deep clean.
God, what a blast. That sounds great.
Yeah, it was a great time. That was the greatest thing. No, I'm not going to add that as my great thing. I guess I've been indulging in something I've been wanting to for a long time. I've collected video games for a long time because it's a passion of mine. It's like the only other passion I have outside of music. So I've just been playing a lot of old games I've always wanted to. 10-year-old games, 15, 20-year-old games. All partly because of like streaming on Twitch and stuff. So it's been a pretty positive experience for me. A lot of cool interactions, meeting a lot of everything from other fans, obviously, of the same games and same area, like of collectors or other people that just enjoy the same media you enjoy. And then developers, like developers have been stopping by and be like, oh yeah, I love this game, or this game is similar to the one I'm working on and I want to make games, sort of thing. Some people that have successful Kickstarter projects. It's been cool. It's been a cool experience.
I've been on the verge of not knowing if I should stream online or not. It's, the current musician was the t-shirt salesman and has been, like 10 other jobs. And now just sitting here, like, so now I have to be a YouTuber. Like now I have to do this. It's something that I've toyed with a lot, but I'm constantly working in my office, and the want of doing that, even if it's behind a paywall for like fans just to see what I'm working on every day, it is a little enticing. And it makes me wonder, because I know all three of you guys have different channels and you all do different things. I just made a Twitch account, so forgive me for not knowing how long you've been at it, but how long have you guys been at it, and how do you like it so far? As far as, is it a cool platform to work on? You know what I mean? Is the audience actually decent, or do you just find it just to be another thing?
The latter for me. It's like, I love painting. Might as well throw up a camera and do it live for everyone. I'm stuck here inside, so yeah, definitely the latter for me.
Yeah, how long we've been doing it? We messed around with it a little bit in 2019, before COVID and all that stuff, like summer of 2019. And we started off with the channel where we were all doing group things together, either 2 or 3 of us at a time. And we did it for a little while, but it wasn't like it wasn't as consistent. Then we started doing it again in the summer of 2020 during COVID. And it became a lot more consistent. Certain interruptions only happened because of just personal health problems and family members and such. But it's a fairly new thing for us. It's a fairly new thing. I would say summer of last year, because we tampered and goofed around a little bit in 2019, but didn't really stick with it. But I would say summer of 2020 is where it kind of started and became more consistent and started doing it more. And it was kind of like Arthur said, for me, I was just playing games every night after I was done teaching lessons, or after we were recording or doing our band practice, whatever I was doing on that particular day. I was already sitting here in this room just playing some games for like 3 hours or whatever. So it just started off, why don't I just throw the camera up? Why don't I just hang out with some people, see if people want to chat while I'm playing games? And yeah, I just ended up really liking it. And we had some awesome group streams and as well. And it's just a fun way to interact with people that enjoy the same thing you enjoy. Again, you can meet a lot of cool people that way. And yeah, I don't know. It's been a very positive experience, I guess.
Cool.
So, but yeah, it's a fairly new thing. If you're questioning if you want to pursue it or do music stuff, it's doing it for the same reason that you've always done it, but don't let it. If it becomes an energy drain, it's probably, not the thing. If it becomes a thing that feels like tedious or feels like work or feels like, oh man, I got to do this again. If you get that vibe from it, it's probably not the right timing to do it, you know. I did get that vibe when we were sometimes setting things up or tampering with things a couple of years back. But I guess it's like anything else. Like we were talking about the album being easier to do as we kept working on it, spending more time. I just spent more time with it and it became easier. Yeah, like we've, you know, Kevin, like how many hours it took to set up like an OBS setting, right?
Yeah.
An OBS configuration, it took forever. And then it's like, by the time you're done, you're kind of drained already. And then you have them set up for the next one. So the next one, you just hit the record button or hit the start streaming button and you're good to go. You're just kind of doing what you want to be doing. So yeah, it's like anything else. It's trying it out. It takes a lot of time, but then if you, if the mood is there and you're in the right like headspace, then it could be a very enjoyable thing, you know?
Yeah, it's really tough. I've never been the master of socialization. I've never been like, it's never been my strong suit, even with like band stuff, like networking.
You're just the guy behind the merch booth, just.
Oh my, no, and like I hate that. Like that's not who I want to be, and like I love talking with people, but it also it's like goes directly against my neuroticism, and so like in terms of streaming, it can be really tough if you want to socialize, but also you're kind of neurotic and and maybe it takes you a while to kind of, it's like getting into a hot tub or something, you know, you got to ease yourself in. And then once you're in, it's like, this is nice. So like playing a game, and especially when we started, you know, playing like Castlevania or something, like for two people, you know, and it's like, are people enjoying this? Like, am I saying enough? Am I not? Like, again, a personality thing. This is not like, but if you have that type of personality, as I do, it's not like, oh, I'll just sign on and play some video games. Or like, I'll just play some music because, for instance, with this album, I was like, I'll start streaming me working on sound design, for my keyboard. And I realized very quickly, like, wait a minute, this is like hearing this is like playing C#4, like for 10 minutes straight, while adjusting like the length of the reverb, or like, you know, the wet dry mix and the filter cutoff for this saw wave that I'm using for a bass patch. Like, it's like, this is all so interesting to me, but in reality, everyone's just hearing doink, doink, doink. Like no one gives a shit. You know, so I don't know. I personally am still figuring it out. The easiest thing is, playing video games. And like, you know, Dorian, for instance, he's really going at it now. And he collects video games. So he's like in this perfect zone where he's like talking about what he's enthusiastic about, and playing video games is fucking dope. So I think you just have to find what you can do that is also interesting to watch. I'm not sure I have found that yet. And I don't, you know, I play video games, but not, I don't have the knowledge base. And Arthur, I think you paint, which is just like really fun to watch. I mean, I would just watch someone paint forever.
I wish I was as relaxing as Bob Ross. I don't really, I don't speak like that guy, so I think my voice is kind of obnoxious personally.
Your time lapses are enjoyable, though. I've seen a couple of them, and even though, you know, you might not, you know, it might be a little bit of a reversal going on in this area in comparison to Bob Ross, like they're still very enjoyable.
Yeah, the more I lose in my head, I grow on my face. But, you know, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I hit a wall, like what Dorian mentioned about hitting a wall. Mm-hmm. And I just have to really check myself, make sure I'm doing everything for the right reason. So I haven't really twitched for like a season. It's already been like 3 months. And if I may, Justin, bring us back full circle, as you've learned from Dorian, and Kevin, and I, that like it's not about the money for us. If it was about that for Sioum, then really it wouldn't be Sioum. It wouldn't be that music. And at the same time, it's like, okay, you know, we have to keep ourselves in check, because like there's a certain snobbery, right? Like this neurotic pretension against other musicians who aren't bleeding out of their eyeballs trying to adjust a drum velocity. We have to like not be snobby and just balanced, you know, like it's not about the money. It'd be great if we got paid for what we do, but we want it to sound good in the end. And so everything we do, everything that we touch, I think that's safe to say for all three of us that we want to be excellent at whatever we do, and for it to not be driven by money, the love of money or anything like that.
Which even, you know, you raise a good point, even, you know, if you're getting revenue from other areas, it's still just because of the world we live in, just like an annoying thing balking at you at almost every single turn that it becomes a struggle. So as I've said before, and I'll say many times again, you know, I tip your guys, you know, my hat to you guys to try to constantly be fighting that. As someone who, you know, fights it as well and has always been a small fish, it's something that I constantly am getting annoyed by, but it's, yeah, it's almost better to kind of sit within, you know, where your goals are and kind of focus on that, which I think, you know, bringing that back to what Kevin said, some of that stuff can definitely psychologically fuck with you. And I don't think that we're special just because we might be a little bit older. So we've seen some different things come and go and we're into something new. And we're like, this new shit, you know, whatever. But I don't think so. I think some of it does really have some huge effects. And maybe that's something to even explore too, Kevin, on there, is just being open about those things. I find just personally myself, the only reason I've been able to do this so long is because this is as honest as I can possibly be. And just being open with everything, good, bad, or indifferent, is definitely a way to connect. And it doesn't cost me any money. I don't gain any money from that. But being true to myself and, you know what I mean, following those things is definitely key. You know what I mean? It is kind of hard, though, when you see other people around you putting some of these, I guess you could say, greater things or bigger things that we're kind of dancing around right now aside. But for, I don't know, survival, ego, I don't know. But it's, it's crazy.
Another, like, whether we want to accept it or not, I mean, we weren't talking about going on Twitch like this a few years ago, you know?
Precisely.
Lo and behold, here we are during a pandemic where venues are just like, I mean, it just doesn't exist right now, playing live shows let alone for artists placed how we are in the industry. So now all of a sudden, here we are talking about doing Twitch streams. So it is certainly about exposure and being seen. I think as human beings, even beyond musicians, we want to be seen and heard and
connect.
But and connect. But the truth is, I mean, you, at least with Twitch, you sign on and you see people, you know, with like 100 people hanging out and chatting, and you look at, you know, and then financially you look at the truth. You know, you look at how many subs they have, and hundreds, maybe 1,000 subscribers, and I mean, this is monthly income, frankly, more than a lot of musicians would ever see at a show when they, you know, toss you $20 and say, hey, there you go. Like it's very tempting to want to go that way, but then also as you evolve from like being a live show band, at least for now, well, there's a pandemic going on, into like streaming digitally on Twitch or something, then it's like, okay, well, when I began writing music, this is my personality, and it worked out playing live music, you know, talking with people in person. But now it's like, am I an entertainer? Like in a digital realm, you know, like, you know, like and subscribe, you know, type shit. It's like, how do I fit in with this new entertainment realm and as a musician? And it can be, it feels jarring for me.
Yeah, no,
Like
I
think for everyone.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Arthur?
It smells like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, right. It is, I don't know. It is an interesting debacle problem. I don't know. It's one that One that a lot of people are forced with, one of the basic questions that I had was just asking, you know, what have you guys been up to? How have things changed since this whole COVID situation? And that's a huge point. I mean, as far as the band is concerned, I know individually you guys have, you know, a lot of different things going on, but as far as the band's concerned, you almost have been, like a lot of people, you know, put between a rock and a hard place where it's kind of like, well, we don't really have too many options at this point. Like, what the fuck do we do, you know? Now, are you still teaching music, Arthur, or are you teaching English? Like, what are you doing with most of your time in regards to teaching these days?
So the two students that I've been accepting through this app, because I can't teach over a screen of music. You know, you need to lift those little booger fingers of like a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old to put it on the right fret, because they don't get it. And I tried. I honestly tried last year when the lockdown hit. I had at least half of my students from Libertyville music stores transferred over online. I tried to do the online thing. Mm-hmm. It was impossible. You cannot keep, and I had a 14-year-old. You just can't keep their attention for more than like 5-10 minutes. So I stopped because it wasn't productive and it wasn't helping them, and they just weren't into it. So what I found is teaching English and teaching Japanese. So I teach Japanese to a bunch of English-speaking people. You have scattered all over the world. I have students in Japan that I'm teaching ESL, a Chinese student that I'm teaching ESL. So I'm teaching ESL to different people, and I'm teaching Japanese to different people that want to learn Japanese. And those have been my main two, which is right up my alley. I love Japanese language. I wish I could get some Romanian students because I'm much more fluent in that. But not many people want to learn Romanian, I guess. But there's a lot of people that want to learn Japanese. I'm grateful that I get to help them on that journey and to be a part of their enrichment.
Man, bouncing back and forth between those two has got to keep you nice and like lubed up. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping your chops up. That's got to be nice.
Hey man, if you need more translations, I'm getting better and better every day.
Awesome.
For sure.
I'll definitely let you know. If OBS freaks out, I just wanted to say thanks for dealing with the troubleshooting and making time to talk. I enjoy the conversation, and we should probably do it more often because it seems like we have a lot of things in common, ladies.
It's pretty fun. Pretty fun for sure, and very, very easy to talk about these subject matters. Obviously.
So the collection.
Yeah, it's cool to catch up, man.
The collection behind you, dude, is that alphabetized, or is it like by genre? Like, how is that organized behind you?
It's mostly alphabetized, but there's stuff you just can't alphabetize. I need Kevin to build me about 74 shelves.
I just see the death in your eyes when you say that. You're like, yes, it's all alphabetized. I've done that so many times.
Well, there's like a random, like you end up with the little thing in the middle of a shelf and the case is thicker. So I put the two thin cases that are out of alphabetical order and I put the thicker case somewhere else. So it's like alphabetized, but there's like random things that just can't be alphabetized. And then I just keep accumulating.
GameStop has honed us to professional alphabetizers.
Oh yeah. We've only did that like 50% of our time working there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's nothing to do at GameStop because it's dead. Go fix the walls.
Oh my God.
Just hours of my life alphabetizing.
Still to this day, I can balance DVD Amaray cases like nobody's business from my working at Blockbuster. I'll take on any of you guys. I'm like balancing things around, throwing them up there. Like, dude.
Yeah.
I miss those times. Did you guys see the last Blockbuster movie? I would think you guys would really like that.
No,
I didn't watch that.
I don't know if I've heard of it.
It's basically they made like it's either done by Kevin Smith or like in partnership with him. So you know it's gonna be really good. With that being said, it's just basically about the last Blockbuster store, and it's just a bunch of people nerding out about like loving going there and renting physical media and basically all the stuff that like we have in common. And it's just
kind of a documentary then.
Yeah. And it's just them nerding out and having fun and talking about it. And from a person who's worked there, but also, you know, likes physical media and, you know, is a nerd like that. Mm-hmm. Even though it's a sappy little, you know, whatever, it was an enjoyable 90 minutes in comparison to a lot of other documentaries that come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's maybe one of those things that's like nostalgia, because I actually, because you actually think about going to Blockbuster and it's like you see 50 versions of fucking Titanic, and like to rent a movie was like $35. I don't know. I do miss going to like video rental stores or like Family Video, I guess.
I think the takeaway from that documentary was basically they asked one of the guys who was like a CEO or something. They were just like, you know, how can we bring this back? He's like, customers. And basically just, you know, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's really, well, it's valuing things that a lot of people don't value. And that's what they kind of sent home at the end, that they're like, it's the thing that a robot can't do. Like, it's the simple fact that I know that Dorian likes side scrollers. Like, a computer can know that, but like, I don't know, there's the algorithms haven't been perfected yet, and I hope they don't, because I think user experience and listening to another human being and sharing your love and whatever that is, I've seen versions of that synthesized, and the human experience just makes me feel better. And maybe that's because I have a heart, you know what I mean? There's a bloodline running through me, but, you know, some people don't like that, and they don't want it. They just, you know, they want whatever, you know. Netflix is easier for them. They can stay in the cave, or, you know, there's a million other things you could put in replacement, but.
Yeah, it's so frustrating too. There's like 55 billion movies that you can get on Netflix, but like they purposely, they purposely categorize it so that the same fucking 12 films keep showing up on Netflix. And there's this whole, like, there's this plethora of movies that you can watch, like independent films and, you know, actually good cinema, but it's just going to keep showing you like Tyler Perry's Big Day Out or whatever. I don't know. Like,
well, I think it's funny that a lot of comedy podcasters that have specials on Netflix, who have a distribution deal with Netflix, will then get a sponsorship deal with VPN and then encourage people to use VPN to open Netflix to be able to watch movies in other countries. And they're just like, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, like, there are ways to get around that, because
interesting,
even though Netflix's algorithm is great and it has completely revolutionized things for a lot of different reasons, what you watch can pigeonhole yourself just as much as the ads you get online and the videos you watch on YouTube. So if you can break out of that algorithm, those little tools are nice to be able to do that. But again, like, as much as that's great to have 65,000 movies thrown at you, or welcome back, Arthur, we were just talking about, I asked them if they ever saw the last Blockbuster documentary. And I was just saying, you know, that human connection that you get, like, I don't care if I have 70,000 movies in front of me. Like, I know 45,000 of them are going to be B-rated horror movies starring Robert Englund or something. And, like,
oh my God,
you know, that's
absolutely
great.
That's so spot on.
It's fine, you know, but, like, I want something else by somebody who's seen something else, who maybe, like, is looking for the same thing I'm looking for. And one day those algorithms will get there, but I definitely... I don't know. Being a person who's been on both sides, like, I never want to get rid of that. Like, in my mind's eye, I kind of want to open a store like that and then just put a venue in it, because that would just be, you know, I could die there. I think it'd be okay.
That'd be the ultimate store for you.
Yeah, dude.
No, it was great. I worked at Family Video, for what it's worth, for a while. They fired me because I had a beard and I wouldn't shave it off.
All right, I have to interrupt you. Please put a note here. Okay, so I went there after working at Blockbuster for like 3+ years. I was good at my job, but the boss that I worked there with was a total asshole who fired me under reasons that Illinois unemployment felt was wrong. So when I went to Family Video and I told him about my expertise and I was really into film, I was going to film school, this was something that I pursued for a very long time, the guy said, man, you did a really good job, when he called me up a few days later when I checked up if I got the job. But he said, here's a little hint for you. Maybe you need to smile a little bit more. And I just was like, all right, dude, I'm going to go somewhere else now. So
up with that, that was like, I've heard of corporate, right? Corporate places, GameStop, they kind of went down that path, you know. A lot of places went down that path because they bought up all the independent there used to be 6 game stores and they all were bought by one. But then Family Video, that's I think a family owned business, right? Not really. I don't think corporate in my mind, but I don't have much knowledge about that place. But having to shave your beard, having this attitude with when you were so knowledgeable and you already had worked in the field.
And you know, I came in there with my best foot forward. I'm not your normal run of the mill tater tot, and you guys know that. But you know, when I'm meeting someone, I try to put, you know, my right foot forward. I try to mind my P's and Q's and try to, you know, be as nice as I can and treat people how I would like to be treated. And with that being said, apparently I didn't smile enough. But yeah, you're right. Like, I want to see the rest of that list. If beards and not smiling enough is on there, like, dude, if Arthur so walked absurd. In, like, would the guy's head explode with that size of beard? Like, what?
Dude, the best part was like getting fired from that job and being like, well, good luck categorizing the porn category, I guess. You know, it's like Family Video with, you know, I can't have a beard, but, you know, you can have this jerk off section in the back. Like, the priorities, like, what are you talking about? I guess people would make fun of Family Video saying that the reason they don't have them is because whatever, the main guy can't grow a beard or something. But it probably has to do from, you know, all their what do you call them, like focus groups and shit. Like,
I want to see him looking at the surveillance tapes, like, who is that in store, whatever, like all pissed off. It's like no knowledge that you can't have any facial hair because he has alopecia or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kevin, I'm wondering wow. what is too much beard? Is Justin and I are beards too much? Anything. So you just have to be smooth, baby.
Yeah,
baby.
You have to be a little baby boy.
Do you guys know if they were like a Hobby Lobby store where they had like a big Christian influence? But you know, and I stopped myself because you did say they did have an adult section. So, because I've seen some businesses be like, you have to be clean cut, you have to be whatever, and they do have certain expectations as far as that's concerned.
I don't even know how you would make I can't imagine. I don't think that's an issue with any religion. Like it, like who knows, I guess, but I don't think so. It was just some weird. Yeah, I can't imagine it was like a Christian thing. That doesn't make any sense, right, Arthur? It's not like there's something in the.
Just look at Jesus.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So it can't.
Oh yeah, how many comments, man?
You've seen weirder things. You know what I mean? We might not be able to find the justifications behind it, but let's be honest. We've seen companies do some interesting things, hiding behind the guise of religion or whatever.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, I'm sure. In truth, it was focus groups. I know for a fact it was focus groups. They held up like picture A, and it was like smooth baby boy Derek, and then they had like Ezekiel or something with like their crazy beard, and it was like, which one do you want to sell just, you know, rent out Titanic to you? And everyone was like, oh, smooth baby boy, he doesn't scare me. And so they're like, that's it, no beards allowed in the workplace,
something along those lines.
But Family Video is still the last surviving video rental franchise, right? Was there anything else? At least I'm familiar with Family Video in the Midwest because I don't really know what other places.
Family Video, Funkoland, RIP, did not make the cut.
Funkoland.
I missed those silver dollars and those the half dollars. Wait, EB Games? Did you say?
That's another one.
Wait, what are we saying? GameStop used to have movies.
Yep,
they did.
I've seen GameStop sell cell phones now, but I haven't been to a new GameStop in a long time, so I have no idea what they're hawking these days.
Yeah, it's a very different format. There's quite a few phases, but yeah, there used to be like 4 or 5 stores and they absorbed everybody.
Yeah,
slowly it changed over time. It's so funny. The year I quit is when they got rid of their dress code. No more khakis needed.
Oh my god, the GameStop pants, dude, so starchy.
Yeah, and you had to tuck in your shirt too. And I was like, man, sorry, I'm not tucking my shirt today, boys.
Rebel.
It was such a big deal to upper management, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me right now. Like, first off, so this shirt is like 10 years old, and if I tuck it in, it'll just get untucked anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a huge deal. Anyway, they had all these policies in place. You got to tuck in your shirt. You got to wear a certain type of pants. You got to do all this. The year I quit was the year they phased all that out. You could wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
I don't know. Weird stuff. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's because they realize like people don't want to walk into places feeling like it's like a fucking clinic or something. Like a I don't know. They just want to go into a store and buy a video game. They don't give a shit if you're wearing khakis. Like,
Yeah.
General managers do. They all get like
Yeah,
planograms and they all want to go in there and see everything in a certain kind of whatever. Arthur, did you ever work at one of these places as well too?
Oh yeah, no, that's actually how we all sort of came together, was because of GameStop, of all things.
I didn't know that.
I
That's
like.
crazy.
Wait. I have to mention
pretty
that
funny.
Dorian and Arthur are brothers. But the way you said it sounded like you were saying, yeah, that's how we all met, dude.
Oh yeah.
Dorian
Dorian.
Dorian lived in my
so-
house, but like I don't know, I never
Never
really
knew
hooked
each
up
other.
with him until GameStop.
Yeah, I just didn't know this guy. Who
Yeah,
lived
we
with me all
somehow
these
had the
years.
same last name, and we
I met him near the
crazy,
Xbox
right
games.
next to each other. I don't.
It's absolutely asinine. I can't believe how this world works. GameStop,
Yeah.
the bringer of siblings together. But yeah, so GameStop was thanks to Dorian, he got me a job there. As if his referral, based on what he just said about his behavior, as if his referral would help me, it actually probably not helped me.
Yeah.
And then Kevin was third key, I believe, at a different store. Or
At
was
that
it
time, but obviously we met way beforehand. But
yeah,
but yeah.
and long
Yeah.
story short, we ended up playing video games together, and this band that we mentioned in the first half of our discussions here, Figure of Fiends, that actually started because one day Kevin came over to Dorian and I's house in Haynesville, and I heard him play Zelda on our piano. We had a little piano in our family room, and I heard him play that, and I was like, dude, you should play piano with us. And that's sort of how that all began. That relationship with music started thanks to a video game company that we all worked for and liked video games.
It's all Koji Kondo, dude. That's the entire.
Why don't I remember Zelda, but I remember Devil May Cry 3? Why?
It was
Well,
both.
wait,
I think
you
it
were
was
playing
both. but-
Kakariko Village, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing. I probably did Saria's song.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably some of that action, and probably a generic Bach progression that was also Devil May Cry 3.
Yep.
I'm sure that was in there. But dude, I actually joined under the pretense of being the vocalist. Do you remember that?
Fun story. Let's
This
not go
is
further
this is
there.
all. We should just tune people in. Like this is all news to me because our paths crossed while Myrick, maybe the second or third iteration of the band, was out. Is when I crossed paths with you guys at J Street. But I've actually never heard this GameStop story, let alone ever heard that you were going to try out for vocals. So yeah, I'd love to hear this. This would be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Well, also though, for people that obviously that are listening that don't know our band, we are a 3-piece instrumental band. There's no vocals, there never has been vocals, but this is like an evolution of when we first started, and that band was called Myrick. It's the same band, but we were just trying out different band names, as you do. And before that, we were in a different band, the three of us, along with two other members, called Figure of Fiends. And around that time is, that's when we were fucking kids, man. We were just experimenting, playing random stuff in a basement, playing Queens of the Stone Age and stuff.
Yeah, we were still
we were
learning a lot.
Yeah.
Is that
Oh my
album
God.
still in existence somewhere on the internet, like MySpace
so.
or something?
I don't
good.
think so. We have some live
Figure
recordings.
Best music ever.
Post rock, if you love Mogwai.
Yeah, but I think me and Dorian were working the same shift, and we started talking about music and about video games, of course. And then came over just to, I think, play video games. And
Dragon
I
Ball
don't
Z?
remember.
Budokai.
Yeah, dude, Budokai 3, and
Uh-huh.
played some Tekken. I forget Tekken, not 3. We were playing Tekken 5. Tekken 5.
Maybe Tekken Tournament 1? Tournament 2? What?
Yeah, some Tekken tournament action. Yeah, just like playing video games. But then I actually don't remember when we finally started being like, we should also play music.
I would say a rough guess is 2 to 4 weeks, a month at most.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
A month
And-
at
and-
most. Yeah, we hung out and played video games, and we found out that we both play music.
Wait, so how
Yeah.
did you come to the point of auditioning to be a vocalist though?
There really
Because-
wasn't an audition. It was more like
Yeah.
Kevin come over and jam with us because we were all kind of figuring out how to play our instruments. And to put a historical timestamp, I think it was around 2006. Am I right, Dorian? Or 2005? End of 2005.
Let me think about that.
Era. So
Sounds about right.
I was a teenager still, and I think Kevin was too. Dorian was the oldie at 20 or something.
I think, I think it was 2004.
2004?
Yeah.
Really?
It was 2004.
I was not in high school still, was I?
I think you were just
graduating.
Yeah, I think you were graduating.
That was 06. I'm class of 06.
So maybe the better question is, how quickly did you realize
Plus or minus 3
that his vocals were so bad that you're like, we are never going to put vocals in any music we make together for the existence of this band? I'm just kidding.
No. So Kevin's vocals are actually really good.
Yeah, they're not bad. It wasn't the vocals that were the problem. It was trying to write lyrics when we don't really want to.
We don't really care.
Well,
don't really
no,
care
it was at that time that was when we were getting, we had listened to Queens of the Stone Age and kind of rock music before it, but I was a vocalist because in previous bands, that's what I did. I played keyboard for myself, but I would do like metal vocals, like screaming and stuff for random other bands, bored suburban kids. And so when I came in to do stuff with them, I just knew how to sing, but it was mostly because I just had a decent ear and I knew when I was going off pitch. But they had already kind of started writing some music before I came into the picture with the other guitarist Matt and the bassist Tom. So I just joined, and they had a few songs, and so I was like, I tried singing on some, but like around that time we started also listening, getting more into like Mogwai, and I think maybe like Dead Meadow or something.
Oh yeah.
I would say Mogwai, Dead Meadow, maybe a little bit of Godspeed and Russian Circles soon after.
Yeah. Russian Circles was later though. It was like
Russian Circles was later.
Yeah. So it started with instrumental stuff and stuff with longer instrumental passages, and that's it just naturally gravitated towards that.
Yeah. So and the songs, I have to mention the songs that were planned for vocals were very much goofy and kind of video game inspired, and the lyrics weren't anything serious. It was very, very goofy. And the music itself, also those two songs in particular that had vocals planned, those two songs also, I would say, are what we ended up wanting to do. We just kept playing them live because we needed to have more music to play, but we gravitated as the five of us towards that instrumental style, like more Mogwai-esque. So those songs kind of stood in their own little area, and just they were the only one. None of the other music we gravitated towards felt like you could fit vocals over it. It would feel forced. It was naturally written to not have vocals. So why would you have 2 songs with vocals and 6 without?
The timeline, if we go further back, it started out with me and my friend, because believe it or not, I wasn't always a drummer. Bass was my first love. I picked up the bass first. Dorian and I we loved the Vines. Sorry, I gotta embarrass us for a moment.
Dude, that's not
we loved that Australian rock, and we wanted to be rock stars. We wanted to learn.
I still like that band.
Play.
Yeah,
from that. Good, I like that band for a certain vibe. I don't listen to them,
but so that's what we learned. We learned pretty much every Vine song, every Nirvana song, and I started jamming with my friend Matt. We were sophomores in high school, and long story short, I invited him over. He started jamming with Dorian. Matt was great with pentatonic scales, blues stuff. So he brought a different element, a different flavor of harmony to the mix. So Dorian and Matt and I would play, and then our friend Tom came over, and he tried drums. And then I just quickly made a switch at that point. It was probably 2004-ish, and I was just like, I want to play drums.
Wait, you said Tom tried drums. Tom tried bass because you were on bass, Arthur.
Well,
Tom-
we made the switch.
Yeah.
You know, he was jamming on drums for a bit, and then we were very quickly like, yeah, no, let's try. So he played bass, and then I just picked up the drumsticks and
Started jamming on drums. Yeah.
started jamming on drums. Again, learning all those songs again, all the Vine songs, all the Nirvana songs, but this time on drums. And so from the rest is history now.
Yeah, and
But yeah.
us as kids, and yeah, it wasn't too long. We didn't spend too much time. We just goofed around, and it would be me goofing around and playing with Tom. And Tom was also a guitarist, by the way. He just ended up picking up bass because 3 guitars felt like too much.
Yeah,
That's how it all kind of.
What do you mean?
I mean, long story short, we all, that's where things started, and we all kind of, in various aspects, we like played instruments together, and you know, me and Tom, or you know, me and Dorian, Arthur, and
Yeah, we get together in groups, small groups.
Yeah, but then eventually that came to a close. Me and Dorian kept playing. Just kind of we heard like a direction that Figure Fiends was like sort of moving in, like instrumental, and it was like super interesting to us. Arthur initially was not. He was doing his own thing, and then when me and Dorian continued, we wrote, you know, this whole song, and I think it was actually like a 10 or 15-minute song. We called it Star Song, and then Arthur, I think, was upstairs, and he heard us like practicing this song, and he was like, oh, he kind of just like snuck in on drums, and we were like, dude, yeah, like please play drums. And this is a very cliff noted version, but yeah, and so basically that's where Myrick came from, and we released our first like a little single type thing,
and that was Star
of that
Song. Yeah,
of Star Song.
Rebirth.
Yeah, which actually is Rebirth, first song we really wrote. And then we realized Myrick means Mark in Polish, and that's really lame. That's literally what it means.
Is that the ultimate reason why you guys did change the name?
That's the reason we chose the name, because it was called Myrick, and we're like, that's really cool. But then we thought about it with our brains and said, we're naming our band Mark in Polish, and that's no good. So then we changed it to Sioum, which is ambiguous, doesn't mean anything. Yeah, and then we just kept writing.
Felt like a better fitting name to not have. Yeah, just yeah, the name before, like Kevin said, had a meaning already. It's just a name, you know, and some like a person's name. And then this name
this is a Cliff Notes version for sure.
Yeah, this name is just, you don't really know what it means, and people ask us all the time what it means, and it's for us, it's a name to associate with our music. Actually, it means exactly what it is. It's us. It's our music. It's our band. You know.
Yeah,
So
I think
it doesn't need to have some deep, complex meaning.
No, but I think it definitely does paint the picture well with what you guys do, and you know, ultimately, you know, the question was, you know, how did you, you know, fall out of the lyrics and vocals, you know, and it seems like that was a natural progression because of your love of these things. It seems like the progression of out of the name as well too seemed like it was from the same exact organic place.
It would be, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It would be really hard to not basically say video games did it. It would be really hard not to, because a lot of the music we enjoyed, I mean, besides video games, was of course the music from video games. That's kind of one of the ways we connected, and the emotions that these games would give us that a lot of times would come from the story and from the characters, of course, but and the gameplay, but also the music. And I mean, most of that is instrumental, you know, in video game, in that genre. So that was a huge, I think, subconscious reason that we gravitated towards instrumental music before we even started listening to like Mogwai and like, let's just say post-rock, kind of moody, broody instrumental music. It was video games, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was just a very natural thing. We got together, like I mentioned too, there was only like 2 tracks that had kind of some lyrics going on, and the other ones didn't really feel like they needed it. We didn't have the desire to do it, so it was just really odd to have all this music, the majority of the music, with no sensation to do lyrics and sing. And then we quickly desired to not rehearse with the PA and microphones, and actually it's a whole nother level of rehearsing. It's pretty tough. And we're just like, let's just play the music because we enjoy just playing our instruments.
Yeah, that's also to say this is how we felt when we first started playing instrumental music. Like now the answer would not be such a simple like kind of like, oh no, it sounds cool. Like I think we have legitimate reasons that we are passionate about instrumental music now, be it the through composed style of not like bridge chorus, just the archetypes of music, but then also the kind of harmony and changes you can get away with. Like, it's there's an ambiguity to instrumental music that allows the listener to kind of form their own experience, and they can kind of be taken away to different emotions and worlds in their mind as they're listening. And I think that's like one of the big reasons now is it's like an artistic choice, and it's something we want to invoke an emotion from the listener, and maybe lyrics and vocals can sometimes kind of lead you a certain way. And they're harder to incorporate into, 7/8 going into 5/8, going like all these weird time signatures and modulations of keys and stuff. It's not as easy to do.
That's a whole other challenge within itself, but you guys have been doing this for so long. You've branched away from the, ABC form, and really have just dove into compositions. And you excel at your instruments and excel so well as a team that those compositions, for lack of a better way of saying it, speak for themselves. While you see other instrumental bands where they have nice compositions, but the songs don't really breathe. There's a missing component of life there, and I think you guys can hear it within your music that it's like what's the word of it? It's like the void of vocals is replaced by the proficiency in instruments, which makes those sing so much more. Where almost at times, looking back on some of your songs, you could probably be like, yeah, you could put vocals here or there, but there's certain points where it's like, actually, unless we have somebody who's Mike Patton or somebody ridiculous, like I don't know how vocals could even tastefully be put in here, because what we have is already, at 10. Like this fits every single column that we need to do. You know what I mean? And people have, people have like, responded the same way too. You know what I mean? I don't think that they're like, I mean, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen a whole bunch of comments saying like, you guys really need like a sick chorus in this one. Like, I don't really hear that too much,
that.
It is funny. It is funny. It has happened. It has happened before.
It has happened, yeah, for sure. So but it's super rare, actually, now that you mention it, Justin. Yeah,
it is rare. Yeah. But we've seen the full spectrum of people in the audience. We've had the people say, "Hey, you guys need some lyrics," and then we've had a lot of people just come up and say, "Great job! Like your drums were impeccable. Your keyboards were awesome. Love the bass. Love the guitar playing." But yeah, we have had those people that have said, "I feel like you guys are missing lyrics," and that's okay. I mean, that's a personal opinion. It's not like we've closed the door on it. I wouldn't say that. It's just it's a whole nother ball game and a thing that, I don't know, we'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, if you guys keep following the trajectory that you do, it seems like it would be a natural evolution if they were to take place. You know what I'm saying? Just like everything else has kind of seemed like it's been that way. Not to undermine the trials and tribulations that go along the way, you know what I mean? But it seems like it's you guys are going with the flow, for lack of a better way of saying it,
Yeah, it's just if the inclination is there, and it's hard to want to introduce a new element when frankly it feels like there's so much left unexplored. At the interplay between a synthesist, keyboardist, and a guitar with a very like intricate rig with tons of effects and H9 pedals and crazy stuff, and then like a drum set and a drummer that is very like super creative and plays in a way that we're so proud of. It's like there's so much left to explore in that. It's like vocals is almost the last thing on our mind. But with that said, you know, I think if we did, it would just be maybe a one-off. It'd just be a fun thing to do some like metal style vocals. I don't know about clean, you know, I don't know. We're talking about it more now than we have. Like, I can't remember a time where we really talked about it seriously. But yeah, like a heavy song. yeah. We listen to that stuff. You know, I listen to, you know, Sumac or Meshuggah and stuff. Like we listen to that kind of music. So it's something that intrigues us, let's say.
I think fans would
but
probably
not on the forefront.
Fans would probably want to hear both sides of it, you know, but to the extreme. You know what I mean? With that heavier side of Meshuggah. Or even, you know, aggressive side that, you know, people have said they've heard Tool comparisons and things like that, to even the cleaner sides being fleshed out, because, I mean, you guys definitely dabble in both worlds, you know, and it's not just black and white. So, you know what I mean? Depending on where you want to turn, it could be really interesting to exploit that, especially for a one-off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, I could see how that could be fun, especially because, I don't know, just making those restrictions just for a one-off song, like for guys like yourself who do almost, you know, go to, not to be redundant, but go to the cave to work on something for, you know, a good amount of time, you know what I mean? To just have less restrictions on it, it's very, very attractive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's no matter what, that's the goal of the next album is, after we get this one done, the way we've been recording and writing has led to a lot of space between releases. And I think more of as we're writing, record it right then mentality will allow us to get more stuff out there. And that in itself means we'll be able to experiment more with different ideas. And in the past, with everything we're releasing so far, we've been very purist in that we don't have any backing tracks when we play live. Like everything you hear on the album is what you would hear from us playing it in person. But we've kind of challenged ourselves maybe more recently with like, is that necessarily something, if we're just writing music to write and we're just releasing it, especially in the state of playing shows live now, do we need to stick to that purist mentality of not having things layered, not having vocals because we haven't? There's so much territory to explore. So if anything, the bottom line is like, just can't wait to finish this album because we're so proud of it, not because it's like, oh, this sucks, but we want people to hear this and then experiment and just get to releasing more content more frequently, which is very much a possibility. And that's like the goal. That's the mantra for us moving forward.
And this reminded me of something that I constantly forget about, is that the natural progression of us not wanting to do vocals and being instrumental way back then with that first band, that was half normal and natural, but half awkward. It was I at least felt awkward. I sometimes felt awkward playing only instrumental music. I thought it was a big deal in terms of, we don't have vocals. This is weird. People don't usually do this. I felt a sensation of awkwardness. That was a long time ago. And now it's like, this is the only way I could, I don't know. This is one of the only ways that I feel normal writing music. I don't even think about it. Yeah. It feels completely 100% normal to only write instrumental. It's just not even, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel. Do
you think that's just a reflection of your adolescence? Maybe not being familiar with maybe how big the genre of music, you know, you ended up falling into actually is? Because once you start, you know, seeing how much is out there, you're actually like, this isn't really a niche thing. Like, there are huge bands that have done this for a long time, you know what I mean? Respectively. And so do you think it might just be that? Because I mean, when you're younger, all you are subjected to is whatever's on the radio, you know what I mean? Whatever's on TV. And that's
it though. That's so key. That's so key, man. When I worked at CVS for a while, you know, just talking to coworkers and stuff, you know, they knew I was a musician, and they would be like, dude, you got to go on America's Got Talent or whatever it's called. Like, what you know, all those shows, I don't know the names. And it was just so, now it's so absurd to me that someone thinks that is like, well, that's how you make it in music. Like that's your outlet. Like, you go on America's Got Talent, and you get your guitar and you blast out some tunes, but it's like that's not how there's an entire. It's a cultural thing.
There's a bigger thing.
Yeah,
going on.
it's a cultural thing. It shows that mainstream has really commodified the singer-songwriter type of style. And when you're a kid, you listen to Nirvana and rock bands and Led Zeppelin and stuff. All these bands that have vocals and have short songs. But once you become a musician, or if you're a music enthusiast, it's very rewarding to start branching out from that and realize that like there's all kinds of music out there, not just America's Got Talent shit.
Yeah, and I think it's part of it is what you said, Justin, it's realizing that there's so much out there in terms of people that have accomplished that. So it made me feel a little more, what we're doing is pretty normal.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing. It's maybe less common. But the second thing was just the fact that we've been doing it for so long. I just feel normal doing it. We've been doing instrumental music for so long that it's just I don't question it anymore like I did in the first band, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago, 17, 15, 17 years ago. Yeah. I felt like, this is weird because we were going to have some songs with vocals, but then we just gravitated towards being instrumental because of a couple influences. But yeah, then we've been exposed to a plethora of people doing it, but also the sheer amount of years doing it. I don't even bat an eyelash anymore. When I start thinking about songwriting ideas, I immediately go to what we've been doing. It's just,
but at that time, it would be a radical shift. Yeah, if it's just a whole new thing or a whole dynamic it's like kicking out a member of the band. You know what I mean? It's just completely devoid of that, or voided, or whatever the fuck the term is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, now you're also a vocal band, right? Now you're a vocalist in what you are trying to have remain a professional band. So are you a professional vocalist? It's like, so that's another issue with that entirely. It's like, well, even if we wanted to, which I don't think we really do, I mean, if I was to do some vocals for something, do I have the same amount of experience singing as I do playing the keyboard in Sioum? Like, no, absolutely not.
The amount of time we've put into this.
Yeah.
But even though you guys have put a ton of years into your own craft, I mean, even looking behind Arthur, he's got a small guitar center behind him. I know each one of you guys do play other instruments. Maybe you're not super proficient at them. I mean, I can play a tuba, but I'm not going to say, I'm a tubist or whatever they would call themselves. But what are some other I can't talk. What are some other instruments that you guys do dabble with outside of the ones that you actually have spent a mass majority of your life wasting time on? I'm just kidding with that.
That's the T.
I think I dabble with other string instruments, but they're almost the same thing, really. Guitar, bass. Do
you play bass? Like, when you play bass, you're playing guitar, basically, kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. And I would never say I'm a bass player, but I'm proficient enough with a string instrument with the neck horizontally.
Yeah.
that I can provide advice and provide even techniques that are specific to the bass. I just,
You play piano, Dorian?
Yes, I did play piano. I haven't played in a very long time, but I can still sit down at a piano. Last time Kevin was like when I was refreshing my theory class when I was taking while we were taking it together. I would go upstairs in the room and I could still play songs from memory. I could play like 2 or 3 songs from memory, and but it's a very like I play once every few years kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did dabble with piano a bit, and I would like to give more time to it, but I don't know when that's going to be.
Arthur's like the true instrumentalist. Like Arthur is, I feel very proficient at several instruments.
Well, thank you. I think it's a lot of them are on the back burner, so to speak, because I'm in Sioum. I focus on drums. But yeah, it goes back to my childhood. I started learning piano when I was 7. The problem was my parents were not very good at disciplining. So when I got my way, and that's not good. for humanity when little toddlers and tantric, when you throw a tantrum because you're upset. Like, I remember being a 7-year-old boy just wanting to go outside and ride my bike. And my piano lessons lasted about 1 recital. That was about 2, maybe 3 months of piano lessons. And I regret that to this day. I regret not continuing on with piano. So now, I have set down. The order that I've learned them was bass, that was first love, guitar, mandolin, banjo, ukulele. Then I picked up drums and pretty much any stringed instrument. I've yet to get my hands on a sitar. Really wanted to. I was going to get lessons at the Hindu Mandir of Lake County with the worship leader there, but stuff happened. But anyway, long story short, I learned all these instruments, and I find, of all of them, I find the guitar and the piano to be most therapeutic. Drums are the most comfortable I'm with, because I've put my 10,000 hours in.
Yeah.
They say you have to be put in at least 10,000 hours into something to be a master of something. So I would say I'm only a master at drums, but the other instruments, they're really personally more therapeutic. And any music that I write personally, separate from Sioum, you're going to quickly realize that fact, because I'm not writing 15/8 time signatures, and I'm not trying to be complex.
15/8.
There's just like all these odd time signatures that we do in Sioum that don't even make sense, and my college professors couldn't even figure out. But now I'm going on another tangent.
A question that I ask, I got a couple questions here that I ask everybody who's doing this, and the people that I've talked to so far have been different people in different industries, but that all kind of share some relatable things, whether that's relatable passions that I have. Actually, that's pretty much what it is. They're all kind of countered around those things, or surrounding around those things. But I've asked them in their own, respectfully asked them in their own craft, why do they do this? Most of the people that I've been talking to are older. They're making a big choice to do this. Like, this is an active choice. It's not just something for fun. Even though music's supposed to be fun. No, but it's a question that I've been asking everybody. Why do you do this?
It doesn't sound the most romantic, but I feel like I don't have a choice. I just have to. I have to be involved with music and write music. Just the idea of stopping is terrifying. Music has just become such an integral part of my personality. Yeah, and I'm sure you hear that all the time, and you try to think of something more personable, but I mean that's just it. It's just an integral part of my personality. Of course there's the notions of expression and being able to express yourself when you're maybe not feeling the best or when you're feeling wonderful. So there's stuff like that. But like a concrete reason, like, I do it because I enjoy writing. I enjoy the intellectual aspects of it. There's a million reasons, but it's at the core of it, I guess, is what I'm saying, is just an intrinsic, almost like a survival feeling. Like I feel like I would lose a part of myself if I stopped doing it. Which comes from love. It comes from the love of music, and how powerful it is.
Yeah, I feel to add on to that, it's like it definitely feels like something is missing when I'm not doing it. Something's missing. Something's a little off, especially if I go long periods of time, which is very rare now. But when there would be a time, let's say we wouldn't get together or we wouldn't actively be working on a goal, whether it's finishing the writing of a song or recording, whatever the goal may be, or even for myself, if I somehow, for some reason, and again, these moments are far and few in between now, I'm always holding a guitar every week. But when those moments would come up for whatever reason, I felt something off. Something was missing. Something was missing. It's not right. And ultimately, the satisfaction that it brings from creating music is too much of a positive and part of my life to not do it. It's just too positive of an experience, I guess.
Yeah, that's weird too. It's like even when you have writer's block, you're performing so poorly, you know, like it's just the worst experience. You just, you know, you can't get it right when you're writing something. Who knows? You know, we've all been there. There's a million reasons that it's just like, oh, this is fucking terrible right now. It's still like the prospect of writing a song is still, even just the prospect of it, or getting past it and getting back to the good part is like infinitely better than whatever you're experiencing in the thick of it. It's very interesting. It's almost like a sadist kind of thing. It's very strange.
When it's the worst of it and it's you're like, oh man, this sucks. I don't want to do this, or this is really hard and this is annoying. Ultimately, it doesn't reach the point of how good it can be.
Yeah.
The bad never reaches the good. So, and the bad never reaches the point of not doing it, which when you don't do it, you feel, I feel just something's wrong. Yeah, empty. Something's a little off. I definitely associate with it. It definitely feels like it's part of my personality. It's like, I mean, again, I also do very limited amount of things. So it's, of course, the two things the few things I do the most are big portions. They're big chunks. So when you remove it, it's like, I don't have my guitar. I'm not working on settings. I'm not making cool sounds on my pedal boards. I'm not writing a song. If you take away all of those things at once, it's like, that's a chunk. That's a big chunk of what I like to do.
it's like now what? Like, what do I do? Who am I?
Who
am I? What is the reason for all of this?
Yeah. Feel like I can pass some time doing the other things I enjoy, but ultimately it always comes back to, this has to be here. I have to be doing this. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's a positive thing. It's a positive thing.
I think Kevin and Dorian hit the nail on the head for that one.
For sure.
I would say that my experience is different in certain respects. I have a wife, soon to have a family. So there are other narratives I have going on in my brain, but I believe this is what I was created to do, is to create art and music, and that matters. That matters. I think it matters.
Hell yeah.
I hope it matters. So far, every show we've played, you know, I've never once had someone come up to me and say, you should quit drumming. You guys should quit making music. Never once. That's not been our experience so far.
Well, that's good.
Inspired and help people. So.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to mention too. Like, I think I always want to try and come at that kind of a question, because, you know, you get asked over the years why, you know, you almost don't, you always hear the romanticized stuff like, I do it because like I would die without it, and you know, but you see real musicians, really good musicians, stop. Like they just can't do it anymore, and it's so sad. But thankfully we're in a position where we can keep doing it, even if it's given the situation isn't, you know, we have to have other jobs and other sources of income. These are all really like rational answers, right? Because you don't want to sound like hoity-toity, like some I don't know. You don't want to overstate your own importance as a musician. You know what I'm saying? But I think one thing that is easy to agree upon too would be that when we write the music, there's two things that happen when you write a song. The first one is it feels very selfish because you're writing the song for yourself and you don't really care what anyone else thinks, right? Like we've talked about that over the years. Like, at least for our music, we have this feeling like we're doing it for us because we need to get we have this artistic idea and we want to get it out there. At the end of the day, if someone doesn't like it, I mean, we're a post-metal instrumental band. Like,
not everyone's going to dig it.
Yeah, and we not to parse words, I don't really give a shit. But at the same time, the second reason is because the people that do care and that do connect with it and get something out of our music, in addition to how we feel about it and what we get out of it, man, it feels so good to play in front of people or to show someone our music for the first time and to have their face kind of light up and be like, whoa, this is really cool. Like, I really enjoy this. And then you see the comments on Bandcamp or something like, I listen to this. This is one of my favorite songs. And this is so important to me. People that listen to it when they're, not feeling the best or depressed or something. There's so many, when it means something to someone else in that way and it impacts them, man, that is just alongside the personal selfish reasons, if you want to call it that, being able to impact someone else positively and make them feel something, it's just the best. So good.
Somebody asked me when I was younger, like, why do you do this? And my answer was somewhat of the same. It's like, I've never gotten the same kind of response. I think your brother's vomiting right now, Dorian. I've never gotten the same kind of response from anything else that I've done. And though I've pursued a bunch of things, there's no doubt that the response that I've gotten from this has been able to help some people. And it is easy to get kind of heady with these things, but I don't know. I would always tell people, like, I am not a smart man. I am never going to be a doctor. I'm never going to be a lawyer. I do not have that skill set, nor do I have those aspirations. But for me to try to help my fellow man, this might be the only way that I can do that. And when it happens, it's got to be somewhat on that same realm of depending on the person, depending on the situation, can be close to what some of these other people feel like, giving them a lifeline, helping them in some degree. And if you're creating music that has a certain narrative, you can really push to that. And you guys know the music that I write definitely goes straight to the heart, so you could see how that could be something. But also with music like your guys's, which is instrumental, there's a level of ambiguity there that people can take in all different types of ways, and that isn't limited at all. And that's a really good thing. So when people can do that, it is penetrating their life in a very enriching way. So trust me, I can completely empathize. Like, that's what would keep me living in a car. That's what would keep me eating bullshit, rice for fucking weeks and shit, not making money, because that, you can't buy that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, I don't know. To me, it feels like I'm doing something good instead of just being a fucking piece of shit all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm actually contributing,
I've realized this too, more so in recent years than when I first started. There's like an intrinsic, like, anger I feel. Hopefully this doesn't sound kind of like, I don't know, trite, or dramatic, but there's like an anger I feel towards, like, mainstream kind of art and society and all the all the fucking music starts to sound the same on the radio, and like all the everything starts to look like pictures in doctors' offices. Like it's just, man, like we have to inject good quality, thought-provoking, disturbing art into society and our culture. Otherwise, it's just going to be the blandest, frailest type of society that there is. It's so important, and so I don't know. I feel an anger from that, at least personally, that we're fighting against. I don't know.
Oh, you're fighting against a big wave. I had the opportunity of taking a class taught by a guy named Dave Hibbard, which you guys might know because you did go to CLC. He was a Grammy Award-winning trumpet player, but this guy was the best. Like, he would tell you the first day, like, listen, I make music to make you shop longer, and if you don't understand the complexity of what I'm talking about with that, you're not, just get out. Like, you don't understand this. He worded it in a way where he was like, people who listen to death metal and classical music have an acute way of thinking. There's a form of technicality that's going on that doesn't speak to the regular person. There's a lot of music out there that makes people feel a lot of different ways. And just because music, you know, some people like it because it makes them feel one way doesn't mean that we shouldn't have these things making them feel another way. If music is invoking an emotion, good, bad, or indifferent, you're doing your fucking job. Like, that's what you should be doing. And he's like, this is coming from somebody who has to put that aside and make music to make you buy groceries longer. So I'm telling you, if you're gonna do this, that's what you need to like value as something as important. Because anything else is, you just need to start making music to make people shop longer. It's just gonna make your life a hell of a lot easier. And you could tell he was jaded, but he made a really valid point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think
we
that's
just
why,
we just
yeah.
need it, man. Yeah.
He's such a great professor because of that. He was the Tuesday night director, Tuesday night jazz band. So yeah, I've brushed along with him and yeah, without sounding elitist or like superior, holier than thou kind of attitude. He just speaks the truth in factual ways, and that's what I really liked about his class. But I want to swing back to what you said earlier. You're being humble by saying you're not smart. I don't think that's true. I think that intelligence comes in many forms. Of course, you're probably using the word as an example, like smart for a doctor.
Probably, you know, in academia, as far as academia is concerned.
Smart, yeah, where you have to memorize 10,000 vocabulary words and know where the dura oblongata is connected to whatever, the limbic system. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we as artists have a different kind of intelligence, right? We have an emotional intelligence. We're able to express that in an intelligent way. And like you said, all the before stuff you mentioned. So I think that you are intelligent, Justin, you liar.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, yeah, I think you're being what's the word? Facetious.
Facetious.
Yeah, you're just fucking around.
Yeah.
You're very intelligent.
Well, I mean,
you know you are without being proudful of the fact.
Well, in the things that I do excel at, I'm definitely not focusing on that in the context of what we're talking about. In the context of what we're talking about, I'm a bumbling fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that I struggle at all the time. I still, to this day, if I didn't have the support structure around me as small as it is, I would crumble and fall. And I have that archetype that I'm constantly fighting against. But I appreciate that you guys seeing that there is some sort of worth there.
Hey. That's what we're all here together for, right?
Yeah. To say the least.
We all provide that as a human race. You know, we all have something to contribute.
For sure. Well, let's not get super heady. What is the latest piece of gear that you guys have all purchased?
I'll start since mine is short. TD11. I upgraded the TD4 to the TD11. It's just the module for the electronic trumpet, the brain. Just hoping we can get better velocity tracking and better rhythmical tracking, but that wasn't the case, so I returned it.
Was it just basically new sound packs from Roland, and that was it?
A lot more new sound packs, different recording options, so you can like practice to a pre-written rock groove, and you know, just not really interested in any of those features. Really, I just wanted to see if it could track MIDI better, and it couldn't. So I returned it.
I might have to ask a person or two, but I'm thinking either the upgrade in the interface itself, or possibly the thing I said prior. I think one of those two actually might give you a better response. But let me like double check on that, and I'll get back to you.
I think you're onto it. I think the interface is what.
Which interface are you using though?
Oh, just a Focusrite 18i8, but the first gen. And I think they've improved latency since then. With USB, I mean, that's why you don't see too many USB 3.0 interfaces or something, because even if you were streaming like just like all the waves in the world, like the bandwidth of 2.0 is sufficient, I believe, to handle all of that. So that certainly, let alone very small MIDI data. I think it comes down more so to the interfaces you use, which is why you can buy like, and this is a little out of my realm, but like MIDI clocks and stuff that's like thousands of dollars just for like just to have accurate timing and stuff for MIDI. So
I wonder
yeah,
if that would still be needed if you actually got like a decent like universal audio interface or something. You know what I mean? Like a higher tier interface that might have better drivers and just a little bit more updated. Even if it was focused right. I mean, they're coming out with the fourth generation maybe now. So
you're spot on with that. It's totally interfaces, and the first gen one. This is probably very dry conversation topic, but yeah, just like it's the interface for sure. Yeah, you're on the right track for that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what. So his would be that interface that or the drum module that unfortunately didn't really do too much. My hope with it was that it would track. It would be able to differentiate maybe velocities a little better. That was not the case. In terms of what I got most recent, I feel like I have everything I need for now. I feel like there's a lot left to explore with what I have.
Do you have an EBO? I just had it right here, so I don't know. I'm just kidding.
My keyboard, just fucking slam it on my keys. No. There is one. The last thing I got, I'm actually is I love. It's a pedal. It's a reverb pedal. I love reverbs, and it is a reverb by Maris, kind of a lesser known brand, but very super high quality stuff. For anyone listening, I would really recommend checking out Maris pedals, and especially the reverb. It's just it's so rich and lush. It's meant as like a textural one. It's the Mercury 7 by Maris. That's the last thing I got, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so I went through a completely overhauled pedal board style where I don't have to step on every pedal individually anymore. I just step on one unit and it sends MIDI signals and closes and opens gates to everything that doesn't use MIDI. With one button press, I can control 15 pedals. But that was the last device. But Kevin, I think the hybrid aluminum guitar was last. I haven't really been buying gear as well because I've been pretty set. I've been pretty okay. But I've always wanted a backup secondary aluminum neck guitar. So I got the aluminum guitar neck from Electrical Guitar Company, but the body was built by Sasha Dunable of the band Intronaut. And he assembled it and put the whole guitar together. It's just a neck from an aluminum neck, like my original guitar from '09 that I've been using ever since. And he just took the neck and built a guitar for me, a custom guitar. So that's been a good 3 years. Good 3 years, I think, since I got that. 2018 or something. So yeah, I haven't really picked up anything since. I've also been pretty stable with my setup. It was a big overhaul. It was a first overhaul in 10 years of working on this type of music that I decided to do that pedal board change. So you could say I got a lot of stuff back 4 years ago.
Well, the last time we were talking about your pedal board, you were still trying to do the conversion and trying to get everything up and going. And that was another question that I had here, which is like, so what's the state of it? Is it like 100%? Are you finally, would you say that the board is like finally done to your, like?
Oh yeah. I finished it. It took about 12 months to maybe almost maybe 16 months. I also had some troubles along the way. Like the board itself cracked. Not because of me, it just came apart because of...
Wait, is that the new one that you got or the old one that you've been using?
The new one. So I, in the middle of working on it, I had to disassemble everything off of it.
Ooh.
Ship it. Well, actually, I think he said it's pretty much junk, so just toss it. And he sent me a new board, and I put a lot of the hardware from the old one on it. Anyway, so there was a few setbacks. But yeah, I assembled that board. That board was finished in 2019, maybe even 2018. It took a good year or so to finish that thing.
Yeah.
It's been years now, and I can definitely send you updated stuff so you could check it out. It's pretty cool. It was a good overhaul. It's the only way to do the type of switching I want to do without having a rack unit, because I'm not I guess I've never been a fan of like having rack stuff for guitar with all my pedals in a drawer, and it works for some people. But I still wanted to have access to them to change them at my feet, so I can just quickly change a knob or two or work on a setting instead of going back to a different setup. So yeah, it's the only way I could think of doing that, and that was completed. But very soon after that, around that time, I got a new guitar. I got a second aluminum neck guitar. I think that was the last piece of gear.
So no more tap dancing. So that's got to be a hell of a
Yes.
lot of fun for you. So that's
the
cool.
most exciting.
Oh,
thing
it's
about
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
This
Everybody
is-
always made comments about that. And I never liked doing that. I just had to.
I mean, but you are that player. I mean, you are bringing that kind of stuff there. You need that much control, and unless you do make the investment that you did do, there is no other alternative.
Yeah, it was a good one.
I gotta ask this, and we can cut it if you want. You mentioned that you got a new guitar, which makes me wonder: is it the guitar? And then that makes me want to say, for people who don't know, I would love for you, even if it's a short version, to tell us the story about your pursuit of getting a guitar recently, because I never heard what happened at the end of this.
I'm gonna have to black out for this, dude. This
Okay.
is so...
I know it's crazy, and that's why I said, well, maybe you can give us like a short version. But I think anyone who's watching this, I mean, I don't even know how to word this. Like,
This
you
is
got to
gonna
be
really tough.
Yeah.
This is going to be really tough because this is going to be really tough. Is all I can say.
Well, like I said, we don't have to do it. We can cut
the
it.
Guitar company is amazing, but this experience is maybe not so nice.
I think it's important
It's
for
not
people. I think it's important for people to know, and some of the audience that I hopefully will want to tap into are people who did listen to J Street, which are a lot of like other musicians, and like, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I have dealt with a lot of bullshit in my time, and a lot of bullshit companies, and a lot of bullshit people, and I think it's important for other people to like learn from some of this stuff, and not in the intent to call people out or be like whatever, but honestly, from what I know, and of course I just want to know what the hell happened. Like, the experience in itself was just, I mean, go ahead if you want to. It's crazy, man.
So yeah. How do I put
worms.
this?
Well, first off, is it the same guitar? Is the one you're talking about right?
it's
It's
not.
not. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's not. It's and yeah. Maybe this will get cut. Maybe it won't.
Okay.
Whichever way. It's cool with me. I mean, I'm already thinking like, yeah, has to be some editing to get a very precise like band related discussion. I already know there's going to be editing. Anyway, it's not the guitar. That guitar is 6 years and 3 months to this day. 6 years and 3 months is when I ordered that guitar. It is not that guitar. That guitar I'm still waiting for. Last conversation I had, I sent an email that I haven't gotten a response to. That's why I think this is going to be cut, because this is now just telling you information about it.
Wait. So still to this day, the counter's still going.
Yeah, the counter's still going. This
Oh
guitar
my God.
was literally me purchasing a neck from him, from the only guy that does this. Well, now there's 4 other companies that do this, but 5, 6. Doesn't matter. He's the only one I want to buy the necks from. I bought a guitar neck from him. He shipped it to these guys, Sasha from this band, Intronaut, and he sent me some free pickups, which was really nice. I actually was going to pay for them, but he didn't charge me. Besides the point, I'm willing to pay for them. He just never charged me. Anyway, his pickups, his neck, this guy built me a guitar 4 months. 4 months.
And that's for anyone watching, that's the guitar you've been using for pretty much forever, right?
No, this is the guitar I got. This is the new piece.
Oh, this is the new one. Oh, okay.
3 or 4 years ago that I got this new guitar. My original electrical guitar company guitar with the aluminum neck is from 2009. That was the guitar I've been using forever. That's what you see most of the pictures of and all the videos online and stuff of us. Whatever exists, it's usually that guitar, because this guitar I got so late, this new piece of gear, that pretty much we played 2 shows and I get a chance to use it live, and then COVID happened. I never got even a chance to use this guitar live. It sucks. So yeah, but the one from 2014 that I ordered, it's still being waited. I'm still waiting for it. Long story short, it is. Kevin actually wrote an email. That's the last email I sent. But I've been in communication.
Dorian is just so incredibly nice and also passive. Too passive.
Super passive and
passive.
Chill. I'm very chill.
I wrote an email on his behalf as his representative, and send it to him to send over to electrical guitar company. to hopefully
I sent
get
it.
things moving.
And I did send it, and I haven't had a response yet. It's been about 2 weeks. I think we're at the 2-week marker of sending, and I haven't had a response yet.
And so for people who are listening who may not know, the type of guitar that you wanted to get built was
It's a completely custom. Well, both of the guitars that I run with aluminum necks are completely custom, but this is on a different level. I get it. I asked for a lot. He did agree to do it, and I didn't realize what I was asking for was insane, but it is kind of insane. It is an aluminum neck guitar, wooden body. I always like the hybrids, so not all aluminum body. And it has MIDI, you know. It has an acoustic piezo pickup with an aluminum neck, so it has three inputs, and it just has an insane amount of features and options and a lot of control that I could do some crazy stuff with it if it existed.
Which, mind you, for anyone, you know, most people who are listening to this will either be a fan of you or, you know, might look it up from a tag on the guitar, you know, whatever we tag. But like what you're asking for is not revolutionary. This has been done before. So even though you are asking for something complex, it's worth notating that you're not asking to reinvent the wheel here. From a guitar company
all
that offers...
exist.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, he did have to design everything for this particular design. He's never built another one like it, so this is a one-of-a-kind in existence. Will never be made again, most likely. So he did have to design everything, like all the cavities, all the ports, everything had to be researched and cut from scratch. He also has sent me pictures, not of like anything that looks very completed, but of the units that have failed in the process of making this. However, yeah, we're talking about an order I placed before our second album, and now we're on our third album. But our second album wasn't even in existence at this point. We now have that second album, and we also have a third album on the way. So it's really weird feeling and really weird to think about timing and to think about the fact that, yeah, that I could have had this for 2 albums, but I don't. And I love his work. The guitar he originally built for me in 2009 is incredible. It's definitely makes me want to write music. I want to write music because of a piece of metal and wood put together.
Well, for people who don't know,
love it, so.
For people who don't know or never played these types of guitars before, I've only played a few of them, and instantly it changes the way that you approach the instrument. There's something different to it. It is almost kind of a painful transition, for lack of a better word to describe, but it's totally doable. So what Dorian's saying isn't some sort of just bullshit saying like, oh, I wish I had it, and it's stunting my ability to write. It's like, no, but with something that is that extreme, it actually does have some really interesting points to it. And let it be said, it's like my intent in asking this question isn't to talk shit about anyone. We spoke about this actually a while ago, and I'm just interested to see the guitar get made. And I'm almost baffled that no updates have been made, because when I did speak to you last, I'm pretty sure we spoke, and what you just said Kevin did was exactly what I told you to do. I'm like, dude, you got it. This is preposterous. Like, you know, what is this shit?
Well, since then, it's also been maybe let's say a couple of years since we've last talked about this.
Maybe a year, 2 years, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been in touch since then. It's just, yeah, my emails are shorter. They've got it. My personal responses have become shorter and more chill, because I don't want to push. I don't want to pressure. It's not my personality. And yes, it's a guitar that does a one-of-a-kind thing that I don't have currently, and I could have been using it. But I guess in the end, I have my main guitars. They're still aluminum necks. I can still perform. I could still write. If it was like, let's say, let's just say I didn't have a usable high-quality guitar. It's like, where is this thing? I can't do anything without it. But I do have good quality stuff. I have stuff I'm happy with. But
I understand that, but it goes without saying. I mean, from anyone who's looking out for your best interest to, I mean, I even see Kevin smirking left and right over there. Like, I'm glad to hear that you're trying to put the fire under there, because it's well past that time. And it's, you know, shit happens. We have no idea why, or at least I have no idea why, which is why I'm not in the business of talking shit. But I hope I'm baffled that it's not done. I really hope that you get it done. And, you know, shit, when it does happen, it better come with like a couple pair of free pickups or something. You know what I'm saying?
Just the guitar, for Christ's sake. And it is worth mentioning that I believe that Kevin is that guy's name too, right? He had some insane stuff happened to him, is my very small understanding over the years. Like injuries, I think his workplace was obliterated. Like, I don't know. There's lots of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say his former location was pretty much underneath a hurricane every summer. Florida doesn't escape some of the big heavy hitters that have hit over the last 6 years, and there's been a lot of things, accidents, everything. Yeah, maybe
this is too forward of me to say, but as understanding as I can be, and as much as that does suck, I think the timeline probably should have received an email saying, I'm going to be refunding your money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that's, shit happens, we can understand, but there's a certain timeline there where it's just kind of like, what are you doing? Like,
oh, I mean, yeah, it's a large amount of time. It's 1/6 of my life. It's a big chunk of time. It's 2 albums since. Yeah. Anyway, we may cut this. But this is just for you.
I had to ask.
I think that's totally fair. It's, man, like I want to see this instrument. I've heard electrical guitar company instruments and Dorian playing them, and like they're so awesome. Like, I'm a keyboardist, what the fuck do I know? But I love his instruments. I love the idea of it. I love what like how they've communicated in the instruments he has gotten. I feel really bad that so much has happened to him and his company, and I'm sure it's been not easy. I'm sure he has a lot of orders as well. There's a huge list of reasons that, like, we just love the instrument, and it's integral to our sound as Sioum. But man, also, it's been too fucking long. Yeah, like that's just,
there's a line in the sand.
What do you do? Yeah.
And it wouldn't hurt anyone's feeling to acknowledge that line in the sand too. I think most people who are professionals at what they do can be like, okay, like, no hurt. At least I'm not sitting around waiting around. You know what I mean? That's the biggest aggravating thing, because you don't know,
That's great.